Hi everyone, it's Sailor Mimsy. This week's video, I'm kind of redoing an old video. Not really redoing, I guess it's more of like a version 1.5. I'm pretty sure that the first video I did was called What I'm Using in My Journal, or What I'm Currently Using in My Journal. Something like that. But this video will be an update of what I'm using now. I don't feel like a whole lot has changed, but there are more things, I guess, that I've been using now. Just zoom in a little bit. So the first item that I want to talk about is my pen. So this guy makes another appearance. My first video, I talked about this pen again, just because it's really awesome. I found it at the dollar store. It comes in a huge pack for I think $2.50. Yeah, it's made by Studio, just a plain black gel pen. Now it says there it's 0.5, like the size of the tip. But I guess the thing I hate about this pen is sometimes the ink flow is unpredictable. It'll come out nice and fine, and then other times it'll just write really bold, and it bugs me when it's like that. So this is my journal page that I'm working on today. So I'll just do some quick lining. But I do like it because it's inexpensive. Yeah, like you get a ton in a pack, and they're always at the dollar store that's in my city. Yeah, it like writes really smooth on the Tomo River paper. There's this pen. Also, you might remember I did a video on platinum preppy pens when I first tried them out. I have that still. This is my favorite one so far. It's the yellow pen. I haven't tried all of the colors out yet, just because I don't want to open them all up at the same time. I wish it came in a finer point though. I think this one is a 0.3, but yeah, I love the platinum preppy pens. And I also like using the Pilot G2 pens. Now there's fun colors and stuff that come in the 0.7 size. And then like the typical colors like blue, green, black, and red come in a really nice fine tip, 0.38. My favorite is the finer points, mainly because the squares, the grid in the Hobonichi is on the smaller side, so it helps to have finer points because I have sloppy writing. It makes my writing a little more legible. And the bad thing about these pens that I just talked about is they're not waterproof. So if you're using watercolor, there's a chance that it can get smudgy. This one though, like the cheap dollar store pen, if I do my outlining first and then go back later on, this usually does not run with the water. Now the newest addition is the Pigma Micron. My friend Anastasia sent me this, and I didn't know that this would hold up well in the Hobonichi, and it really is so awesome. It also is waterproof too. So I've been using this from time to time as well in my journal. The reason I was skeptical that this was going to work is because I had these pens from before. It's just the Artist Loft brand. I think it's like the Michaels generic version of this, the Pigma Micron. So I had these, and it says here that it is water resistant ink, but every time I use it, even if I vary the time of how long I wait between lining my work and then filling in with watercolor later on, the ink always runs still, and that's what bugs me. Maybe I had a bad batch, I don't know, but this is fine to write with, it works well, but using it with watercolor stinks. If I'm not confident in what I'm drawing, I like to use pencil first before lining it or coloring it in with marker or paint. And for that, I just use regular pencil, like any pencil works really. I go between mechanical pencils and regular old school pencils. Alright, so that covers my writing instruments and drawing instruments. So I'm going to put this aside. I didn't mean to go into so much detail with pens. Sorry guys. Alright, so also in my previous video I was talking about how much I love the Triplus Fineliners. That is these markers that I'm sure you guys have seen around. So I bought a pack of these from Costco. I had them for years. They started to dry out, and I'm actually surprised at how long they survived. So these are the 4 remaining colors that I have. I still use them because they work really good, but all the other colors die out, unfortunately. Again, you guys have probably seen these around, but they're Stabilo. This is fine 0.4 on them. But I bought this huge pack from Michaels. I'm not even sure how much was in it, but these are all the colors that you get. I used the coupon to get them for cheaper. So it's a really good selection in the colors. Only bad thing about these markers, including these ones too, is they're not waterproof. And the reason I use them is because they're water-based, so they don't go through the Tomoe River paper. Other markers I use are these ones. Probably easier if I just put this here. They're just in the case. So it's these markers that get a ton of colors in them. They're from Michaels as well. Got them for $42 or $43, but then I got one of those 50% off coupons and use it towards this. And they're double-sided, so the ending has like a finer tip, and then the opposite side has a nice brush tip. And these are water-based as well, so they don't go through the Tomoe River paper. Let's do an example. I find myself using the brush tip way more than the other side, like the fine point. And I like these because you can keep overlapping, make it like a couple of shades darker, and it's still pretty good on the Tomoe River paper. And then this Stabilo, so it's just the fine point. Now, I don't remember if I read this on the packaging or if someone told me, I don't remember, but apparently the Stabilo is really good for using with stencils and rulers and stuff, because it has like the metal surrounding part of the tip there. You guys can see. But I don't really use stencils or anything. I wish I had the same colors in the Stabilo as these markers, because coloring in, like, even if this space doesn't look so huge, but coloring it in with just this kind of ends up looking streaky. And oh yeah, and I should mention that we have an example here. Using these markers works out a lot better on Tomoe River paper, because I did use it in my Traveler's Notebook and it doesn't look as nice. The Traveler's Notebook paper isn't as smooth as the Tomoe River paper. So this is Traveler's Notebook. The typewriter is colored in using one of these markers, like the bigger ones with a double-sided, and it looks kind of streaky. I don't know if you guys can tell. Oh, that bear is colored in with marker. Oh, but that's on a Project Life card. But you could see it's streaky. I don't know, I feel like with the brush tip you get a better flow. The paper gets covered a lot smoother. Oh, it's something that you guys would have to try, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. So when I'm using the Hobonichi, I like to use a combination of markers and the paint. With the Traveler's Notebook, I tend to go more towards the paint, just because of, like, these markers don't work so great in it. Oh, and I'll show you guys this quickly. This is a really old makeup case that I've had for a while. I found it at a dollar store, so it's not built that great, but it fits my markers in it nicely. And this is on with Velcro. It's attachable, but I just leave it in there. I like that the pockets are clear. And then I just keep some pens and stuff there. In my previous video, I mentioned that I use super cheap paint and an old ass paint set. I am still using both. Here's how they look today. And then my old ass paint set. It's super old, but I just can't stop using because it still works. Even if the lid / palette thing is barely hanging on to it anymore. Yeah, they still both work really great. I mentioned before in my video, got this at a university bookstore, like this set here. I think it was $2 or something like that. And I got it mainly because it was portable, because they stack nicely. Like, the palette's so cute, but they stack nicely. And they just twist on like that. And I ended up using it regularly because I really like the colors. Old ass paint set. I like using it still because the paint goes on really nice on both Traveler's Notebook paper and Tomoe River paper. But I've had this paint set for a really, really long time. And part of me is excited, but also really, really scared of getting a replacement palette, because I just know it won't feel the same if I ever have to get a replacement for this guy. Yeah, they still work great. I like using them still. And of course, the other thing that I can't do without are my cutouts. So I still have this star-shaped bento that I keep my cutouts in. I have way more than this cutouts from magazines and found pictures or notes and all that stuff. They're all put in different trays and baskets and stuff. But I'll just show you guys this one for now. I keep an eye out when I'm looking at magazines. When I'm done reading it, I cut out pictures. And if it fits in this case, then it stays in here. If it's too big for this, then it goes in one of my other basket things over there. This is a found item. So I found this at my work. Thought it was cute. So it's a star that someone drew a face onto with crayon. And on the back, it says Pinkalicious. I actually found this in a Pinkalicious picture book. I don't know if you guys know who Pinkalicious is, but she's a character, popular character in children's picture books. I don't know when I'm going to use this in my journal. It just hasn't felt right yet. And I don't know if I could actually just like glue it all down. I'd have to have it so that I can flip back and forth, because this is adorable, the way Pinkalicious is spelled and all the exclamation marks. So that goes in there. Besides magazine cutouts and found notes and pictures and stuff, other things I like to use are, there's Project Life cards, or like even just cut out pieces of scrapbook paper that work well. Even using gift tags. So I got these ones from IKEA, I think. Yeah, they're really nice. I think in one of my previous traveler's notebooks, I made like this. It wasn't a pom-pom, but it was like a bunch of yarn that I really loved, that I had scrap left over of, and I like made it into a bow kind of, and I stuck that on my journal. I used heavy duty glue for that one though, and it didn't bug the way I was writing either. So pretty much anything is possible in your journal. Of course, we cannot continue on until we bring up the washi. So I have washi here. These are some of my faves, I guess you could say, and in my cute little house thingy. That's where I display them. So it kind of doubled as decoration in my studio. And then the rest of my washi, I have a cart here beside me. And I have a huge basket, and my washi is just grouped together using, well, this is using ribbon, but a lot of them are grouped using string as well. So I have them grouped by color, or if I bought them as a set, it goes by set. And then ones that I couldn't group together just randomly went together, like this one. And I find this to be easier instead of just throwing it all into the basket. The reason I did this is because usually if I'm looking for a washi tape, since I'm the one who sorted these and grouped them together, I'll know which ones to look for so I can find it faster. And then also I end up, if I want to like make something coordinate, then usually it works out because they'll already be together like this. And I keep some tapes in a tray. So these are, I don't know if I can even explain. So I have my slim tapes right here in the corner. These would get lost and yucky in that basket that I keep everything else in. And then I have samples here and over here up top from pen pals and stuff and friends. And then, oh, this is tape that my friend Harriet made with her stamping. So pretty. I can't use them yet because they're so pretty. Yeah, she made that, and she also makes this really cool map tape. I have a bit here, and I have this little bit. This is like the first one that she sent me, and I don't want to use it because I don't want it to disappear. Oh, okay. And these guys are separated because they would get squished in that big basket that I keep everything in. And I also have rolls here that I have yet to make into, to group up like this. So there's a couple here that are waiting for partners so I can put them together in the big basket. But yeah, that's what this is all about. This seems like such a huge mess, but it really makes sense in my mind. And I can find my washies easily. Okay, so we have tapes, and we're now talking about my glue. Still using the same kind of glue, it works awesome. Elmer's all-purpose glue stick. I just bought a huge pack of these while I was in the States. I stopped using the double-sided, you know, those roller tape things. I stopped using them not because it didn't work or anything. It did do the job, but I haven't been able to find a good deal again. I think that pack of them I bought was from Walmart. It was super cheap, but I haven't seen any lately. So it's been a while since I've used one of those. This is my last roll. I don't know if you could tell, but there's not a whole lot left inside there. But yeah, this stuff works pretty good. So it's good for sticking things down when you're in a rush and don't feel like using glue stick. The way I use this is I put, oh, I'll just show you guys. Why don't we do that? Oh, another thing I still like to do is I like to recycle when I can. So right now I'm just tearing just a piece of this craft paper envelope. So just pull some on here. This works really great on the traveler's notebook paper as well. Just put this in the corner. We'll figure out what we'll do with it afterwards. So the way I like to use it is, yeah, so I put a ton of glue on and then I like to hold it down for a bit. Like in my mind this works. I use the heat from my hand to help the glue stick onto the page better. That might not be accurate, like that might not really be a thing, but that's what I do. So I'm just gonna leave that now, let it dry. Yeah, so Elmer's glue stick is awesome. With the woolly stuff, obviously you just get a thing you want to stick on, you just put a couple strips on, and then you just slap it onto the paper. Rolling adhesive, it's not as good as the glue stick. You don't see it often at all in my Hobonichi or my traveler's notebook. I do this writing in my writing only journal, but I really like using, so this is my September page, I like using the journaling prompts by Journaling Sage. These are so awesome. I like using these in my writing only journal because the questions and stuff on them are really like meaningful and they make you think. Like you should check out her page on Instagram, it's at Journaling Sage. But they make you think and it just makes you want to keep writing. Like I can just write on and on and on. I love it so much. And it helps you realize things that you didn't think before. And they're also very inspiring. And next I have stamps. I'll just show some of the ones I have on hand here. So usually in my traveler's notebook, I like to use my calendar stamp. It's the one that everybody asks about there. Looks kind of gross. Yeah, it looks kind of gross, but this is how it looks. It's a calendar stamp made by Heidi Swap. It comes in this set. Sorry, it kind of looks really used and gross. But yeah, this is one of my favorite sets of stamps. And there's also just a regular date stamper. I found this date stamper at the library where I work at. There's a gift shop and they have the cutest little things in there, and this was in it. So I had to grab this. You have to be careful because sometimes the stamp, like the inks get all finicky, and sometimes it goes through to the other side, it shadows it, or maybe it bleeds right through. I still have yet to find a good technique, but it's really unpredictable. So these are the inks that I've been using, all from Michaels. And there's a whole bunch of colors in these ones. It's from the $1.50 bin at Michaels. And also I like to use those markers that I showed you guys earlier. I use the brush tip side to color on the stamp. Even with the markers, sometimes it goes through to the other side. You can just see a little bit of bleeding. It's depending on how big your stamp is too. I've been experimenting with all the different types of ink that I can use just because I've been looking for something to use in either notebook that always works the same each time. So I'm just going to take one of these little stamps and then color on it with marker. Now this usually works out just fine, but the odd time it goes through to the other side, which is kind of weird. There's some little dots, you can't see it on the camera, but there's some tiny little spots going through. It's weird because when I color with this marker, it rarely ever bleeds through. But then when I stamp it with those markers, usually some of it shows up. I don't get it. I have to go across to the other side and get some other stamps actually. I recently reorganized my stamps. Some stamps on one side of the room that are organized, and then the stamps that are closest to me are part of the unorganized side. So I just grabbed one of my favorite stamp sets. It's the Bears. So I'm just going to use this Recollections multi-surface ink in vintage black. So it has specks of gold in it. Which bear should we choose today? Let's go with the Sloth Bear. That's how I feel today. So I'm just inking it up. I think I over inked. And then I'm just going to put it on this craft paper piece here. Yeah, I went a little ink crazy there. Yeah, I think it's a lot better if you're in the same boat as me where different inks and different markers and stuff sometimes go through but sometimes don't. I think it's best if you just stick something like a piece of scrap paper or whatever, decorative scrapbook paper, and then just stamp on that instead of directly onto the paper. That works well. And my friend Ness sent me some of the Stays On ink. So this is permanent ink, so you gotta be careful when you use it. but this I like using on washi tape. So for example, if I want to put a date stamp, let's do one up really quick. I'll use this tape because I haven't used it in a little bit. I really like this tape. It's super cute, but it lost its stickiness so fast. That kind of sucks. But yeah, it has salt, pepper, olive oil, and eggs on it. So I'll just stick a little bit on the bottom. I'm gonna add some glue, stick to the back of it just to make sure it stays. I don't need it rolling up. It's a pet peeve of mine. Using washi tape and then it starts to curl up. So just put this along the bottom. This is kind of turning into a Frankenstein page. I'm using today's journal page to show you guys examples of how I use things. Alright, that's good. So what I wanted to explain was, yeah, this stays on ink. It is permanent and it goes on. So yeah, if you want to do any stamping at all on washi, this is definitely the ink to use. So just make sure you don't touch it while it's drying. Hey, I got some on my hand. Jeez. I work tomorrow. I'm gonna look so dirty. It washes off your skin eventually. It'll be gone by tomorrow. Anyways, it works awesome on anything. Except don't stamp directly on your Tomoe River paper or Traveler's Notebook paper unless you want it to go through, like you don't mind at all if it goes through. I wonder how many, it might go through a couple of pages, I'm guessing, because it's made out of solvent ink. My main journal is the Hobonichi. This is the A5 size Cousin Avec. Before this, I was using the Traveler's Notebook. Open it because this one has a cover on it too. So I've been using the Traveler's Notebook. And I alternated using the Traveler's Notebook with the Mikkel Reuse notebook. And this is the red version of the Mikkel Reuse notebook. That's this. I have this red version. I've always ever had like a black one, but this one, I don't know what to use it for. Because I'm really happy with my setup right now, like using the Hobonichi. So I think I'm going to use this as my next writing only journal. Maybe. So this is my current writing only journal. Just a plain notebook. It came in a pack. But yeah, the cover is really cute. And inside just has lined paper. Also, I bought another one of these when I was in the States last month. Earlier this month, I should say. So I bought one of these because I am going to be adding it to a giveaway that I'm going to be doing. I'm still collecting my things that I want to put together in this giveaway. So it might be a little while yet till I get everything that I want put together. So yeah, just a heads up so you guys know to keep an eye out for that. Just something I've been wanting to do for you guys, my subscribers. Alright, so I'm going to end it now. I've shown you guys everything that I use, and I'm going to continue on with my journaling on this page. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, comments, or anything like that, just leave it in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!